It is October 1347. You are standing on a dock in Sicily, watching 12 ships drift in from the sea, and something is very wrong. The ships are still moving, but nobody is steering them. As they scrape against the harbor wall, you climb aboard and you find the crew. Most of them are dead. The few who are still breathing are covered in black swellings the size of eggs, burning with fever, staring at nothing. Within days, the officials will order those ships back out to sea. It will not matter. The thing they carried is already ashore, and it is now walking toward you. This is the beginning of the deadliest catastrophe in human history. Over the next 4 years, the disease you are about to meet will kill somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 of everyone in Europe. Not 1 in 100, 1 in 2. Whole villages will vanish so completely that grass grows over the streets. So here is the only question that matters for you, standing on that dock. When it comes for your town, and it will, could you actually survive it? Let us find out step by step, the same way the people of 1347 found out. The hard ways. First, you need to understand what is hunting you, because you have almost no idea. It is the year 1347, and the idea of a germ does not exist. Nobody has ever seen a bacterium. The real killer is a tiny organism called Yersinia pestis, and it does not travel the way you think. It rides inside fleas. The fleas ride on rats. The rats ride on ships and in grain carts and along every trade road in Europe. When a flea bites you, it vomits the bacteria straight into your blood. But you do not know any of this. All you know is that people are dying, and you are trying to figure out why, and every single explanation you will be given is wrong. Your neighbors have theories. Some say it is a punishment from God for the sins of mankind. Some say it is a poisoning of the wells. Some say it is bad air, a foul invisible mist called a miasma that seeps out of swamps and rotting bodies and creeps into your lungs while you sleep. That last one is the popular one, and it is going to get people killed because it sends everyone chasing the wrong defense. They will carry flowers and burn sweet herbs to purify the air, and the whole time the actual enemy is a flea the size of a comma, sitting in the seam of a blanket waiting. Now the disease arrives in your town. How do you know? You know because of your neighbor. Yesterday he was fine. This morning he woke with a headache and a chill he could not shake. By midday he was shivering under every blanket in the house while sweating through all of them. And then his family found the first sign that turns fear into terror. In his armpit, in his neck, in his groin, hard, painful lumps have risen up under the skin. These are called buboes. They are your lymph nodes, swollen and blackening as your body loses a war it does not understand. They give the plague its name, the Black Death. From the first bubo, your neighbor probably has 3 to 5 days. Most people do not last a week. So the sickness is in your street now. This is your first real decision, and it is the most important one you will make. What do you do? Almost everyone around you is about to choose one of 2 options, and one of them is a death sentence. Option 1 is to stay. Stay with your family, care for the sick, honor the dying, keep the community together. It is the brave choice. It is the human choice. And in 1347, it is very often fatal because the plague does not reward loyalty. Sitting at the bedside of a coughing patient is one of the most dangerous places in the medieval world. Option 2 is to run. There is actually a real piece of advice from this era, and it is brutally simple. It goes leave fast, go far, come back slow. The people who took it had a genuinely better chance. 3 wealthy young men in Florence supposedly did exactly this, fleeing the crowded city for an empty house in the hills, and they survived to tell the story. So that is the winning move, right? Run. Well, not so fast. Because running has a catch that kills more people than it saves, and you are about to walk straight into it. Here is the catch. When you flee, where do you go? You go to the next town. And the people in the next town see a stranger arriving from a plague city, and they are terrified of you, sometimes with good reason. Refugees carried the disease down every road in Europe, faster than it could ever have spread on its own. You might escape your town only to bring death into your sister's village, and then get thrown out of it, or worse. Fleeing works only if you flee early, before the sickness is in you, and to somewhere genuinely isolated, and you tell nobody where you came from. Most people flee too late, and they flee toward other people, which is the one thing you must not do. Timing is everything, and almost everyone gets it wrong. Let us say you make the smart call. You get out early, before a single person on your street has fallen ill, and you head for a remote farm miles from any road. Good. You have massively improved your odds. But you are not safe yet, because you still have to live. And living in 1347 means the plague can find you in ways you would never expect. Which brings us to the thing in your house that is quietly trying to kill you. Your cat. Well, not your cat exactly. The absence of your cat. Somewhere around this time, in many towns, people decided that cats were agents of the devil, connected to witchcraft, and they killed huge numbers of them. Think about what a cat does. It kills rats. The rats carry the fleas. The fleas carry the plague. By slaughtering the one animal keeping the rat population down, terrified people made their own homes far more dangerous, and they never knew it. So if you want to survive, here is a piece of advice no physician in 1347 will ever give you. Keep your cats. Keep every cat you can find. It is the single most useful thing you could do, and everyone thinks you are insane for doing it. Now, sooner or later, you are going to get sick, or someone you love will, and you are going to want a doctor. Please understand what a doctor is in 1347. Medicine of this era is built on a theory of four humors, four fluids in the body that must be kept in balance. Blood, phlegm, and two kinds of bile. When you get sick, the doctor's job is to rebalance your humors, and the tools for that are the stuff of nightmares. The most common treatment is bloodletting. The doctor believes you have too much blood, so he opens a vein or he places live leeches on your skin, and he drains you. You are already dehydrated and fighting for your life, and the cutting edge of medical science is to make you bleed. Some doctors will lance your buboes and pack the wounds with strange pastes. One popular recipe involves tree resin, the roots of white lilies, and dried human excrement, applied to an open wound. Let that sit with you for a second. Then there is the doctor himself, and you have seen him before, even if you did not know where the image came from. The plague doctor wears a long waxed coat, gloves, a wide hat, and a mask shaped like a bird with a long curved beak. That beak is not for show. It is stuffed with dried flowers, herbs, and spices. Because remember, everyone believes the plague is bad air, and the doctor thinks a nose full of roses will filter out the poison. He looks like something out of a nightmare, and he understands almost nothing about what is actually happening. Here is the dark irony. The full body costume, meant to protect against bad air, might occasionally have blocked a flea or two by accident. The one thing that could genuinely help, and they stumbled into it while chasing the wrong idea entirely. So your medical options are bleeding, poison pastes, and a birdman. You would be forgiven for skipping all of it. And honestly, in many cases, skipping it is the right call. So what does actually work? What are your real defenses in 1347? The truth is grim but simple. Distance, isolation, and luck. Getting away from other people before the sickness reaches you. Not sharing air or beds or clothing or blankets with the infected. And having a body that, for reasons no one can see, simply fights it off. Because not everyone who got the plague died. Survivors existed. Some people caught it and lived, and even now scientists are not entirely sure why. Part of it was almost certainly the raw genetic luck of your immune system, a lottery you did not know you were entered in. And here is where your story reaches out and touches you right now in a way you might not expect. Studies of the survivors and their descendants suggest that the Black Death was so lethal, killed so many so fast, that it actually reshaped the human genome. People carrying certain immune variants were more likely to live, and they passed those genes on. If your ancestors were in Europe during those years, there is a real chance you are alive today partly because one of them won that invisible lottery, survived the worst pandemic in history, and handed their luck down through 600 years of history straight into your blood. The plague did not just kill, it selected, and some of what it selected for is still inside you. So let us go back to the dock and to the only question that ever mattered. Could you survive the Black Deaths? If you are lucky enough to be wealthy so you can flee early and far. If you are wise enough to go somewhere truly isolated and stay there. If you keep your cats, avoid the doctors, share air with no one, and win the genetic lottery your ancestors were playing without knowing it, then yes, you could survive. Millions did. But you would watch a third of everyone you have ever known vanish in under 4 years, and you would never fully understand what killed them, and neither, for centuries, would anyone else. The ships came in October of 1347. Nobody on that dock knew what they were looking at. The question is, if you had been standing there, would you have run in time, or would you have stayed to help and died for it? Tell me what you would have done in the comments. Be honest. And if you want to know whether you could survive what came next in history, the thing that makes even the plague look merciful, then you already know what to do.